My name is Margaret Ann Windsor, and I was kidnapped in 1941, brought to Moulton, Alabama, Lawrence County, given the name of a twin, Peggy Ann Dempsey Childers. I married a Childers. Both twins, Carl Preston Dempsey and Peggy Ann Dempsey, were killed by their mother, Lina Dempsey. And I've put all this on YouTube and photos of that family where they took me. It was such abuse, but since I put it up on a lot of other videos and other social media, I want to address this at the moment. Uh, I didn't find out about my kidnapping until I was flown out to Larry Flint's. I was in a political campaign to replace Larry McDonald, Congressman Doctor, from Piedmont Hospital in Atlanta, and I lived outside Marietta. And his plane went down. I had written about him in a medical malpractice book, and he's not the good guy. Later, and I'm skipping what happened to me, I'm going back into address. Later in '83, the passenger plane, the KAL Korean jet, en route from Juneau, Alaska to Seoul, South Korea, was shot down by the Russians when it veered into their airspace, and all the 200 some odd passengers were killed, plus supposedly Larry McDonald. Forensic pathologists who were killed because they knew too much. Warren and Rosina Matthews were gunned down. They worked at Piedmont. They were gunned down in Terrell Mill Estates back in the 75 or about that time, and that was in Cobb County. They knew how deaths were made to appear of natural cause, and that involves mind control, programming, which has been going on, and Edward Snowden, only touched the tip of the iceberg. The book I wrote him, Dear License to Kill, while living at Moonraker Apartments. It was later the movie was made. Moonraker mentions, I believe, Moonraker is about 007, and the next Timothy Dalton, the only one he made was A License to Kill. So I'll leave it at that. Larry Flint was shot in Lawrenceville, March the 6th of 78, and I was doing the book. I'd never met Mr. Flint, but the person that shot him was programmed, and I'm going to go ahead and show these and then get to the point I was going to make. This is James Holmes, Century Theater, and by the way, Alexis Murphy, there's more to this one. And Jessie Matthews was supposed to have murdered, she was British, English, Hannah Graham, a student at Charlottesville, and I'm so sorry for her parents and her. And then there was another murder he's accused of, and I'm not going to mention that one. Her father was a psychiatrist, though. Now, this man was totally, and these can be proven, programmed. And he's a victim himself, and it'll be a cover-up. All right, on that one. And this was a man who was a psychiatrist, finished at Virginia Tech, born in Benton, Roanoke. It's Fort Hood shooter, and of course this is Sandy Hook. These are mind control murders. They're programmed, and at this point, it's gotten to where they can mass program from way back. And this is Jens Zorings, who was German diplomat's son, and Elizabeth Haysom, who were supposed charged and convicted of murdering her parents in Boonesboro or Boone's Mill outside Lynchburg, and tried in Bedford County Court. And this is Jens and Elizabeth. And I had briefly crossed paths with Jens in Marietta when I became a candidate to replace Larry McDonald, and I was flown out to Mr. Flint's, who helped me. And at that time, it's a little campaign headquarters, which served as a residence, which I had been made homeless. I came back, and the temp that I worked for told me that the policeman and FBI, I believe, had come by, and they were wanting to know, doing a background check on me, for working for the police in Hustler magazine. Well, Hustler magazine is really run by the FBI. I found out later, so I'll leave it at that. This is the point I wanted to get to. When they put antifreeze in me, April 1st of 80, and I had a letter from the U.S. Attorney Harper, William Harper, out of Atlanta. The FBI directed it to them like police turn something over to be prosecuted or, okay, this is what the FBI do to the U.S. Attorney. U.S. Attorney sent me a letter, and it said, ongoing investigation, national security involved. Now, I didn't find out. I want to give you the rest of it, though. That letter came to me on my dad's birthday, by the way, who's Edward VIII, King Edward VIII, who never married Wallace Simpson, a double did, an imposter. Helped take down my father. Everybody knew it. This is my grandfather, George the Fifth, and this is Elizabeth, the illegal, cold-blooded killer who sold out my country, helped destroy my father and my mother, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe Windsor, legally wed to my father. And she's lived off my money, and look at this brood. But she's not about my hell every second, yes, and the downfall of my father. What I wanted, I put all this up. There was 99 years still to cover it up. But what I wanted to put here was the letter from the U.S. Attorney was on my dad's birthday, which is June the 23rd. Of course, it was issued to me in 1979 by the U.S. Attorney Harper. Here's what I wanted to say. On April Fool's Day, I had gone, I'm leaving out a bunch of it. You can't put it, and I wanted to get this part up. I had done the book, and I went to who I thought Lois Pearson and Marietta was a friend. And I spent the night with her because I was having trouble in the apartment I was living at Laurelwood. That night, antifreeze was put in me. I woke up the next morning, and I knew I was in trouble. I went to the emergency room. Lina Dempsey, who I later find out is mother of the twins, and not my mother, thank God, but I didn't know it. I hated her guts. What that family did to me was so brutal every day of my life. I lived in a pigsty. But she just suddenly appeared there, and I go to the emergency room for a talk screen to try to help myself. Find out what it was, and instead they tried to kill me again. A British lady helped me. Now I'm going to skip that. The next few days was hell. Okay, on Easter, this is Easter the 6th, it's Passover, I was shoved into a car that Saturday morning by my ex-husband and Philip that worked for the ATF and Nancy, his wife. I thought he was a half-brother to me. And in the condition I was in, I had antifreeze in me. I should have gone into a coma and died. It was a miracle, absolute miracle. It was hell. But anyway, they shoved me into Lina Dempsey, who killed her twins and destroyed me, helped destroy me in every way, and made me call her mother, because she would have gone to the gas chamber in Alabama if this had been prosecuted for the death of the twins. Of course, now they're trying to cover it up because I was deliberately taken there after I was kidnapped from Buckingham Palace by my own Uncle George and the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers, and Joe Kennedy, the Kennedys. That's why the Warren House covered the shootings up. It would have told about me. Now I want to say they shoved me into the car. This is on a Saturday morning before Easter the next day, and Philip and Nancy said to me and my ex-husband and Lina into her car. I was illegally taken across the state line, and Nancy, Philip's wife, said to me as they shoved my head down into the car and shoved me in, the agency, Philip, her husband, who I thought was a half-brother, is in. They're helping